What's up, everyone? We're here with week 6 of the ArcLight League. I'm joined here by Peter, too long last name to pronounce. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody about you. Nobody's ever seen you. They've probably seen your doppelganger around, but that's about it.
Yeah, 100%. So my name is Matt. Just kidding. My name is Peter Boonsick, or Mask Momentum on YouTube or Twitter. Proficient Kano player. And who are you, sir?
Allegedly. And no,
Allegedly.
I am Vero. Nobody knows me, and you should keep it that way. If you do know me, I feel bad. But we are joined here with a banger of a game. It is going to be Mr. Majin Bey, who plays like Dash IO or something, and he's really good at it. And then we're going to have Mr. Michael Jasker as well. So it's a pretty important match here. The winner of this is going to probably keep themselves in Jasker's case, solidified for probably the number 1 seed going into the playoff round, whereas Majin himself is 2 and 3, trying to keep himself alive for the top 4. There's a top 4 cut in this league to go to the playoffs, and it's going to be some crazy formats up there, probably a conquest format, something really cool. So that's going to be exciting. But as enough of us talking about nothing. Let's talk over some gameplay as we're going to get right into the action now.
Yeah, let's get right into it. As you see, Caleb is playing Kano on the top, and then Jasker is going to be playing that dash. Looks like more of a boost dash list on his side on the bottom here. We're starting on Jasker's card, and he's just going to load the pistol, and then he's going to pass priority here.
Yeah, no, of course we're going to see that. So, as a avid Dash IO Kano player yourself, where do you feel when you sit down across from a Dash? Obviously, as most other players know, there'll be certain things you see from a Dash, things like tech low base arms, which are pretty standard in both hybrid and potentially slab Dash. But what are you expecting to see when you sit down against a Dash that'll give you some information? And what are you really hoping not to see? And what are you really excited if you do see?
Yeah, definitely try to look at the mannerisms of your opponent. If they're a little bit nervous sitting down, it probably looks like more of a slab dash. But when you sit down and you see Teklo Pounder, you just 100% know that's going to be more of the traditional boost dash kind of list that is pretty good into Kano. Traditionally, this is one of Kano's worst matchups in the game because of the amount. Like it's an AB3 deck that obviously has Arcane Barrier 3 and a lot of blues. Also is able to put in a lot of damage pretty much throughout the entire game in the first 3 to 4 turns.
No, of course that makes a lot of sense there. And then, as you mentioned, if they're slab dash, it's much of more of a rough match because they're usually probably missing some AB, I'd assume, as you mentioned, and then also just not as much aggressiveness coming out. As we're going to see a Sprocket Rocket here for 5, getting our first pounder trigger of the game. For those that don't know, Dash is going to start with an item in play. Generally, you're going to see the induction chamber a lot, which lets you shoot your pistol a bunch. But in a matchup like this, we're just trying to do as much damage as we can, as quickly as we can. As we see a T-bone follow-up, given the Metacarpus nodes, not going to get much of a loss here, as it doesn't have a defense value to break. But yeah, so Expedite coming in, trying to get another item. Anything else you're scared to see on the dash side from a game like this? Any certain starts? Are heavy item starts scary for Kano, or is it something you'd rather see because you know it's not aggression coming at you?
I think the what's pretty interesting is that because Yasker had a blue light hand at the beginning and just had 0 for threes in his hand. Caleb got it really out of this turn with just taking 5 damage and being able to set up a potion of deja vu here. You basically have to take the first attack from the dash to really see what they have left in their hand at the very end of it, and then you can start blocking here. Kano really wants to start off with a couple items in this matchup because you have to get over that Arcane Barrier 3. Try to get your opponent to round 28, 32 is like going to be that range for himself. But getting through here, looking like have a good a dash start here, coming in pretty much in his entire hand, and gets to have an arsenal this turn. And Caleb just has to take this pistol with 2 at the end, just set up another E-pot here. Already starting at 15 before a lot of damage has been through.
Yeah, no, definitely. Kano, as we all know, starting at 30 health, so really at 50% health now compared to somebody who'd be at a little less. But starting at 15, definitely not where you want to be. But as we know with Kano, there's a few different ways to go about it. There are matches where I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm pretty much going to answer it myself here, is that this is a matchup where you're not going to be able to really take it long usually. You're probably not getting a stack. You're probably not seeing your second cycle. You're trying to chip your opponent down and find a wildfire blazing type of combo pretty much in the first few turns to mid-game. As in some other matchups, maybe Guardian or something like that, you actually have more time to block, play slowly, find your pitch stack, think of all the cards, hope you remember them in the right order, and kill your opponent even through sometimes double and triple Oasis. In this matchup, excuse me, probably not going to see much of that. AB3, a lot of blues from dash, and a lot of consistent damage, as we see it 36 to 8 currently.
Yeah, and it looks like just a pretty good start from Yasuo this entire game. Has a good amount of pressure on this turn. This is going to be his high octane turn, so he's just coming in with like a blue 0 for 1 here, but that's going to give him an extra action point do this pistol multiple times. He has a whole bunch of pistols, about 3 shots here at the end of this chain. Majin's at 7 here. Doesn't look like his hand was pretty good either. Was a Swell Tidings, a Lesson of Lava, and a Blazing Aether plus a blue. He needs to be able to send this Lesson of Lava for 4 here, and basically almost go to either one and hope that his hand the following turn is pretty good, and somehow pull out a 30 plus damage turn here on the following turn.
Yeah, pretty crazy and a pretty quick game as it's 36 to 1, but don't count the Kano out, as Peter is saying right now. We're going to try to make a tempo play here, do some damage, maybe manipulate the top of our deck, try to really come in with a decent sized turn to match Jasker's roughly 14 damage, even with a very, very heavy blue hand, as you mentioned. So we're going to most likely see the passing of the turn, the lessons coming out. I don't know, is this sometime, I assume you just use like a Crucible and lessons out here and try to hit it for as much as you can, or are you holding on to this extra resource for a potential flip off of the lessons?
I think right now we're thinking about if I wonder if Yasser has an extra action point here, but no. If you can keep these 2 cards in your hand, you're definitely just sending it for 4, and then putting another lesson level on the top of your library here, so you can do the wildfire lesson level line here. So let's see. Yasser draws a double yellow, blue, and a red hand here, so has enough resources here. This is going to come in for 4. If he does AB3 this, he will take 1 going down to 35. Majin can put another 1 cost on a 1 or less on top with Allison level, which is most likely going to be another lesson on lava this game. And then we're looking at double yellow into a red here from Yasker. This is going to be, ooh, it looks like Majin draws at least 2 blues in his hand, might have a third one depending on what that Aether Flare color is. But if it is a blue, we would able to do the entire line here. Just depends on what the last card from Yasker, the pitch value for the math here.
Yeah, for those that don't know at home, when Peter sees cards like this or Majin as well, there's just an Excel going on, Excel spreadsheet just in their brain right now of like 17,000 different configurations and lines that can happen right now. And while you're going through those in your in the Rolodex that's stuck in your brain now from playing this for too long, when you see it was an AB3 with the blue, and then you see your opponent lead with the zipper hit pitching a yellow. Are you putting them on pretty much not having another blue, or do you think maybe they're bluffing, or is it just they definitely don't have another blue, they have at worst another yellow, potentially a red, and then you start doing the math in your head saying, okay, at worst I'm getting most likely AB3 this turn. Can I kill through it? Because the alternative is obviously blocking this for 6. And then if they do have another attack, if you're putting them on a red, you wind up just blocking out your whole turn here, obviously being at 1. So I'm assuming this is what's going through Majin's head as well.
Yeah, if he had another blue, it would be pretty smart to sandbag it here. If Yasker had it, but he obviously does not have it. But we get to know that. But most likely, if you're pitching a yellow to come in with this red here, the alarm bells are going off in my head, thinking this is going to be a red or another yellow in his hand, and I'm trying to go off basically as quick as possible here. Let's see. What it is pretty interesting here to know what the line Machin's going to go through here, because the traditional line here does not actually do enough damage to kill him here. That traditional line is going to be that Aether Wildfire into Lesson of Lava into Blazing Aether here, but we do have a potion of Deja Vu, and we do have a potion in Epot here, which allows us to do some pretty crazy things here. If he's able to put in a 4 spell in that equation, because we do have that Epot here, that would be enough to try to get over and almost do that 35 damage through an AB3 here. So let's see what Majin's trying to think about here. Don't You do have a decent amount of resources here to be able to do everything, and you have the additional resources because of that potion of deja vu, because you can pitch those cards for resources and then put them back on top.
Right, of course. No, that makes sense. And so right here, as you mentioned, there's some more traditional lines that are just kind of doing a safe amount. And I say safe in air quotes, maybe 25 to 30 damage, which obviously, as we can see on the board, is not enough to kill Jasker. So here, are you looking to maybe get lucky and make a crazy play? And there's like a certain maybe hitting a second blazing on this turn, or as you mentioned, getting a fourth spell to stack multiplicatively, or excuse me, additively with the wildfires. Is that something you're looking for here? Because as you mentioned, there's probably a safe line that'll happen 90+% of the time that we know is not enough to kill. But I'm assuming we're looking for that 10% line where if we hit exactly the cards, it is the only way to get out of the situation. As we see the Storm Striders proc, most likely to cast this Lessons in Lava.
Yeah, we're gonna try to probably see hopefully a little bit more of a weird line here. He's gonna commit the Storm Striders and the Crucible here. Let's see what else he wants to do here. Something that's really good with the Potion of Deja Vu is that you can actually like a lot of the time you're kind of hoping that you do hit a blue off the top of the Ragamuffin's hat, but the Potion of Deja Vu actually 100% lets you get into it. So he sends that wildfire in. He only sends it in for 5 here. Doesn't send it in for the full 6. And so Yasker is going to show that he does have a yellow in hand, so he's going to AB3 it and take 2 here. And now this is going to be really on Majin what else he can do in this situation, right? He's pretty much thinking, you have the +2 buff from the wildfire for everything else, but you do have to get over to that intense 33 amount of damage to get through here. Lesson of Lava would be coming in for 5 if you shoot it right now. And basically short of a double blazing play, there's not a lot of situations where you can go through this and get out of it for Majin.
Right, because we'd see a Lessons come in here. It'd come in for 5 unless he paid more into it. That would be able to fetch up just about any card in his deck. And then let's just say, as you mentioned, it was a Blazing. We'd put that on top. That'd only be 2, 5. That's 7 damage plus 2. So that Blazing would come in, for 16 or so damage at this point. We'd be at like 13, 14. So as you mentioned before, we would need in this case, a fourth spell or a second Blazing. So maybe we're just going for broke here and hoping that we got, I don't know, maybe it's Blazing already on top and we're about to put another one after the shuffle, of course. Or is there ever a line where you block out 6 here and reset this turn? I'm going to assume the answer to that is no, as we've
Well,
already
there's
blocked the Storm Striders.
something pretty interesting here is that he's pushing that Lesson of Lava here, and then he's gonna Deja Vu. And he's gonna Kano with that Lesson of Lava, so have one floating, put that Deja Vu back. So gonna put the Lesson of Lava on top, like usual, has one floating. So he can cast that Lesson of Lava for 3 here, and then if he wants the blue, he's going to go get that blue here in his hand, and so that makes me think that uh Aether Flare is going to be a red that's on top here. But he has Lesson of Lava banished right here. What he can do is play Lesson of Lava. It's going to come in for 5, put Yasker down to 28, and you can actually search out a red tome if you want to survive like this. But he looks like he's going to activate Kano another time and banish that Aether Flare.
Right, so as you mentioned, potentially using the tome or some other way to get around this by blocking, but being down as Storm Striders and a Rags and maybe getting your opponent to 25, 28, is it possible for Kano to be able to kill on your opponent's turn without Storm Striders? Are you just really looking to get lucky off the top? Because I'm assuming a Wildfire has to go for the finishing play, and without it being in your arsenal and Storm Striders, I'm assuming we're just have to go blindly off the top.
Yeah,
As
so
here's
this
the
is what
tome you mentioned.
yeah, he does do this play to where he's just gonna do 5 and then he's gonna do tome here, and then draw 2. This is gonna be really just depends on what he draws on these off these 2 cards is what he's going to decide for the rest of the turn here. If he plays it and gets double blue, he might just go for it and hopefully get another spell here because he does have that Aether Flare banished. But if he just draws like double red, he's definitely going to just block here. Looks like he did get double blue here. So let's see. It's pretty interesting to see what else he wants to do on this turn. If he activates another Kano, so he's going for it right here. There's a couple of hits that if he hits it that he wins, but most likely is not looking a Sonic Boom. Oh, he hits a Spindle, which is not going to be one of those. It's not going to help him because he doesn't have an additional blue here to
Right.
get all the way through.
The Spindle would be nice because it does a bunch of damage. You'd be able to opt a lot, but anything you put on top of your deck, you're not going to be able to pitch to actually play because the Spindle, if I'm not mistaken, costs 2 or
Cost 2,
yep.
yes.
So we're going to
Oh, so he's
Kano
going
again,
for
as you
another Kano
mentioned.
activation. If he hits Red Tome, there's a chance that he can play everything, but hits another Aether Flare off the top, and that's going to be it here. Masha not being able to piece everything together. the opponent was at just too high of a life total here to get through it. And that's gonna be Yasker taking up the win here, almost securing first place or putting a good enough time into almost securing that first place in this league.
Yeah, I think that's going to be 5-1 for the end of week 6 from Michael over there, pretty almost solidifying himself as the number 1 seed. So as you saw there, as Peter mentioned, just too much aggression coming out early, as well as a bunch of AB backup. The good part about Dash is, for the Dash player, not the Kano player, is that the AB is just built into your normal suite for the most part. So there's not a lot you have to give up. There's not a lot of sideboard slots you need to waste. So because of that, it's going to be a very unfavored matchup for the Kano, as most of us know. So as you see there, Kano sucks. Stop complaining. He's not going to LL. It's all over, guys. Go stick to Prism. Yeah, I'm sure everybody at home will figure that out. But yeah, that was week 6. Quick game for you guys. Quick video. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you feel about both myself and Kano. Seeing less of either of us on screen is always a plus for many. But I'm gonna leave it off with Peter for a second to say anything he wants to say about the game or about this week, any shout outs he wants to give, and then we are gonna move on to our next game.
Yeah, shout out to Caleb for thugging it through at 2-4. I'll definitely give him a tremendous amount of shit in his in our Discord channel, but for losing all these games. But besides that, I hope to see you guys in the next one.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ArcLight League week number 6. I, DM Armada, am joined by none other than the Empress herself, Mara Ferris. Mara, how are you doing?
I am fantastic. Ready to watch some pretty exciting gameplay. How about you?
I am ready as well, because if, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you thought Dromi was gone, well, we've got her for one more game, one more week. She rode off into the sunset in the LL world, but here, kind of taking a step back, maybe about a week or so, Rhea Adams playing on Levia is up against Matt Cole, sitting at 3-2 as Dromi. And, well, we thought, we might as well get the Empress herself to come on in and kind of talk us through the Dromi side of things. I'm a big fan of Dromi myself, but, I mean, there's not many more better than you, better suited to break it down. And we start off by breaking Seeker's Mitts on what I believe is just the end of the turn here, going to generate that Ash, as you would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dromi being able to just start out with that little baseline of that first Ash is always going to be super important. Although looking at this opening hand, having those zero cost Ash negative dragons is always a little bit scary on that first turn to get things rolling.
Looking like we are going to start off with Rhea kicking things off over on the side of Levia with Deadwood Rumbler for 6. Just a simple, innocuous blue attack, pitching a couple of cards there, as you can see floating over there, and having the old Art of War in the back pocket. This is going to make a great arsenal target for this turn. And just a blanket 6 is not going to be respected at all by Matt. Matt sitting at 3 and 2, as mentioned earlier, is putting him in a very good position to make that top 8 cut coming out of week 6. And establishing the Yindarai onto the board and then continuing this turn. Let's see how he chooses to play this out.
Yeah, Matt's going to want to take a little bit of time in these early turns to sort of, eat a little bit of that damage and trade that damage to build this board, to be able to, instead of just blocking that 6 out, we're starting to build out these first couple of dragons, get this burn them all rolling.
Yeah, Chromai on the board from the Arsenal. Chromai plus Yindarai, a fine little combo here. Chromai, one of the best cards that you can possibly have onto certain combos and in certain combos onto the board because it gives you that extra action point. And into popper heavy decks, meaning that the opponent has 6 power attacks or greater, into popper heavy decks, this gives you some recourse and some respite, if you will, from the constant nerves of what they're going to do if they just pop and pass on over to their turn.
Yeah, it's a good way to sort of demand that the Levia player, Chromai kind of comes down and says, hey, I know you've got a card in arsenal, you've got 4 cards in hand. I don't want you to have a 5-card hand. That Chromai is pretty much a I'm gonna play this card and you're gonna give me at least a card, because the need to get that Chromai off the table is gonna be very high.
There's the
And
commit
we see
there.
that right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Savage Feast coming down to meet the Chromai. Now the action point is still regained, and the option here is to throw that snatch or pocket it and throw Yindarai instead. Yindarai would just get eaten up most likely by another popper, but this snatch represents 4 damage, and on hit you get an arsenal.
Yeah, it's not like I say. A lot of this draw my game plan early is just kind of demand some cards from the Levia. Keep the Levia's damage potential a little bit lower than they would like. Just make them have to block with these cards. Like we saw, the card's going to be taken from the Chromai. There's probably going to be another card, and then we see the block on this snatch. So Rhea's got that Art War and Arsenal, and really would like to be able to keep these big hands, but by just this constant pressure of these on hits and these dragons that have to be popped, Matt's going to be trying to sort of make sure that Rhea is never in a position to get those big 5-card Art of War, Blood Rush, Bellow kind of turns in these early stages while Matt's looking to set up a board.
And forced there on that 2-card hand plus arsenal to basically just send 6 with the Beast Within coming down, and Beast Within is summarily covered up, if you will. And we're going to go on over to the other side of things, and Dromi just sending the old dust up here.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a Snapdragons play, I imagine. This is a fairly aggressive commit for the Snapdragons, but again, we're just going to see, Matt looking to just take more cards, just demand more of these blocks.
Looks like he chooses to pitch away the second Dust Up to Flamescale Furnace. Not going to use that, creating an Ash on the back end. Dust Up is going to connect and create that Ash Wing, but no Snap here means that we can just load that Sink Below, keep the Amira guy, which wouldn't feel great coming down on basically a naked board, but keep the Mirror guy in hand and get a nice little defensive card in the arsenal.
Yeah, Matt just definitely looking to play this very slow-paced kind of game.
But that kind of off turn, unfortunately, gives Rhea, if you're rooting for the Dromi on the side here, gives Rhea the opportunity to resolve this Art of War, and this is going to do some work here. Possibly banishing and drawing 2 and giving the old go again, as you would normally call with Levia. Now, we can't see what the options were chosen. We did see the banish draw 2. Which is drawing into a Blood Rush and it looks like a Swing Big there. And gonna play the Blood Rush. Look at this. Coming down, drawing 2 more cards.
Scary turn.
This is a huge turn. Now it's developed into just a massive salvo of damage here. We've got 2 Swing Bigs ready to go. A Writhing Beast Hulk still in the hand there, and we can use the Agile Wind Up for pitch, as we see there. Swing Big coming down with a casual 10 go again.
Yeah, and in fact, we did get the go again as that other mode chosen for the Art of War, which is just setting up this big scary turn. Forcing the Mirror Guy block is very relevant for this. Mirror Guy being one of the most powerful dragons in this matchup, and Matt giving that over is it's him really respecting the amount of damage that's coming out this turn, saying that I'm willing to give up this very powerful, very important card to just try to mitigate this turn a little bit.
I think it's a really heads up play to understand that this is one of the more powerful turns you're likely to see this game, when you basically line up an Art of War into a Blood Rush into 2 swing bigs for 20 damage. It's maybe a little under what you might expect, but nevertheless, it's still 2 instances of 10 damage apiece. And as Dromi sometimes holding on to Ravenous Rabble, sometimes holding on to Snatches, you probably want to take your licks where you can, but you also want to kind of shore up and protect yourself as well as you can.
Yeah. Interesting thing to note too. I don't know if it'll be relevant this game, but Matt did choose to full block out that first swing big and take that Quicken token. Neat interaction with the Quicken token. The dragons don't consume the Quicken token. So if Matt really wants to, he can hold that for several turns by just kind of playing to the board and playing these dragons rather than committing like the Ravenous Rabble that's in his hand right now. If he wants to try to hold that Quicken and save it for something like a Snatch or an Enlightened Strike and get a really big, powerful go again off of it.
Yeah,
So
you could. Yeah, he's going to commit the Ravenous Rabble here, which is going to threaten 4 damage on the face of it. Most likely a very red heavy list, which is as Dromi went out into the Living Legend, she was sort of carrying with her most of those red heavy lists. And that's going to use up that Quicken token. I have in a game before, when my opponent's given me a Quicken token, actually gone Nourishing Emptiness into Nourishing Emptiness thanks to a Quicken token. So that is a real life possibility.
Yeah, that's a scary turn. I've done that with CNCs as well before.
Block out CNC and then threaten second CNC to keep
that's
the
always
arsenal.
just charming.
Now, Levia is uniquely suited to protect against one of those types of turns. Maybe that's the thinking along the lines of why Matt chooses not to try and sit on the Nourishing into Nourishing possibility. He already has one Nourishing that's going to make its way into the arsenal. But because Levia has such great blocking equipment, notably the Carrion Husk over there, we can understand that if we don't get that off the board, this Nourishing is essentially just blanked. It doesn't do anything for you. And very smartly not committing much equipment block yet is Rhea. Looking at her hand, a bit of an awkward hand. Gonna have to play Deadwood Rumbler here. Most likely, again, is gonna be the play. And after doing so, we're going to draw discard. Hit there, turning off Blood Debt, I believe, is the case. We don't have Blood Debt built up yet, looks like. And then just threatening the old 6 again. 6 damage, the name of the game here in these early goes and early turns. From the Dromi perspective, how do you feel at this point in the game as you've seen one very large turn from Levia? You don't have much going on the board. What are your thoughts from this point forward, looking at the hand that we have from Matt?
So right now, like you said, we don't have a whole lot of a board, but we've also seen 2 of the real big power cards out of Levia that are gone. Now that we've got one Blood Rush Bellow out of the way, we've got one Art of War out of the way. We can probably take a little bit of a breath and maybe get a turn or 2 where the Levia with like the chances that Levia can find that second Blood Rush, we are a little bit lower for a little bit. We've got a little bit of breathing room. We've still got 26 life to play with. We can sort of try to rebuild our board a little bit, which may be something we see, push a little bit of damage. There is still that Nourishing Emptiness, and I do believe it is live. I think we've had that burn them all ticking down, banishing all those attack actions out of our graveyard, which will give the Nourishing Emptiness that dominate and that extra threatening on hit. And like you mentioned, Rhea does still have the Carrion Husk, but just being able to block that out and just take that Carrion Husk away is relevant.
An absolute abhorrent hand, though, from Rhea here. As you see, an Art of War, but no attack to banish. 2 non-attacks and 1 defense reaction. I believe the arsenal is still that Beast Within from the previous turn. And this is going to be met with the Carrion Husk, going to create that first point of blood debt that she has to deal with turn after turn, as Levia players are all too well aware of. Levia rising in prominence as heavy hitters is truly cemented itself, and the onset of the next set is almost here, but starting to make her rise in the meta and picking up a couple of wins. If you didn't catch it, but if you missed it, she did pick up a few wins in this most recent ProQuest weekend. How do we navigate from Rhea's perspective the hand that she is presented with? We've got the ability to swing from the arsenal for 6. We have the ability to kind of like pitch out of some of this. Do we want to play some? Convulsions from the Bellows of Hell could be played if we can meet the requirement. We also have just a simple... is that a Savage Beatdown up there? No, the not Savage Beatdown. Barraging Beatdown, I believe. See how she chooses to play this out. From the perspective of the Dromi, though, we see a Ravenous Rabble, a Nourishing Emptiness, a looks like Invoke Chromai is also there. Oh, here we go. We got a Scabskins roll. Oh, and of course the Scabskins rolls hits
no.
a 1. The most painful of all rolls. And then immediate snap back on over to Matt, who's going to hit us with a Ravenous Rabble for 4, revealing the Command and Conquer.
Yeah, just a heartbreaking with that the roll. Although we do get to see one of my favorite Dromi lines, which is the Flame Call Awakening lines.
That's correct.
I'm a renowned big fan of Flame Call Awakening in Dromi.
Yeah, this was a card that I was not on until I talked with you about it at length, and the more I believed you and I went with it and I tried it, the more I tried it, the more I was like, yeah, this feels quite good on exactly turns like this, where you can fetch the Phoenix Flame, use Flame Scale Furnace to gain the 2 resources to be able to play a Nourishing here.
Just it's such a great way to generate that ash that Dromi needs to keep going and keep these power turns rolling without having to take turns off. You know, you see a lot of these other Dromi decks playing cards like Sweeping Blow to keep that ash up, and these other just like very low power, low impact cards, and you know, Flame Call lets you kind of keep that pressure on without having to give up that time that you need to build your ash.
An absolutely painful turn cycle there for Rhea. Hitting the 1, having to block out, just sending the Beast Within from the arsenal does allow her to pocket the Art of War like we did previously, and she draws into a workable hand. But presented with full tempo, Matt Coles is going to kick things off with a nice little Billowing Mirage for 3. And I would feel like you're almost all the way in the driver's seat from the Dromi side, wouldn't you?
Possibly, but you know, like I say, Levia as a hero is definitely one you never want to disrespect. She is capable of some pretty explosive turns out of nowhere. Like we saw that first turn, that very early Blood Rush in Art of War turn, where you know 20 damage just kind of came out of nowhere and stole a lot of tempo away from Matt. And we could very easily see a turn like that again. So I imagine Matt is pretty happy with the state of things, but I don't think you're ever going to be really comfortable until that life total hits 0.
Art of War being played to start the turn off. Going to choose that Banish draw 2. Most likely to go again as well, though we could maybe consider not choosing go again since we do have the Dread Screamer in hand. We draw into the Smashback Alehorn here for resources, which could power up our Mandible Claws. There's going to be a Writhing Beast Hulk here for 6. Dominate go again.
Yeah, just we were talking about these big, scary, powerful turns kind of out of nowhere. These Art of War turns, just letting Rhea get these extra wide, you know, that writhing into these claws just to get a little bit extra damage on this, and that agility token is definitely representing another scary turn from Rhea's side. So Matt's got to be very aware of her damage potential.
Most definitely. The playing of the Smashback Alehorn, and then the pitching, of course, it looked like it was a blue Dread Screamer, allowing that to sort of just do the Mandible Claw thing, which is great. Giving you a nice, strong 4-card hand. Now, we, of course, can't see the pitch here on the side of Rhea, but we do know Slithering Shadow Pete is going to present 6 damage. And then depending on that Dread Screamer, which I can't quite make out the damage amount. Looks like it might be a red, which could mean that we could have some very powerful turn kind of sequences, a sequence here coming up, depending on how this all shakes out. But she's back in the game, under the gun a little bit at 13 to 17, but has the capacity to maybe push some damage here.
Something interesting to note, Matt does have that Lost in Thought in hand. And that's another card that Rhea has to be very cognizant of coming up on Matt's next turn. If she blocks a little bit wrong or gives up a card that's a little bit, out of step, Matt can snatch either the blue out of her hand or the red out of her hand and leave her with a scary turn where she might not be able to turn off the Blood Debt, might not be able to really present damage back. Lost in Thought can be a very scary card in this matchup, and so it'll be one that we'll see if she is aware of and kind of can get the read on how to protect herself from that a little bit.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Lost in Thought made its way into the game via the set Dusk Till Dawn. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
I think you spoiled that card. In fact,
I did spoil that card, so I feel like I should know that. But
I believe it was an expansion. Yeah, expansion slot card in Dusk Till Dawn. The set that was due to provide some power to the Shadow and Light heroes, also brought some really good power to illusionists. Of which we have a Light Illusionist, Prism, that's poised to do quite well right now. Here we have the establishment of Asvali coming down onto the board. It's going to be dealing arcane damage. This is another avenue that Dromi has at her disposal, along with that Burn Them All to just push damage over the top, and the Mira guy as well, meaning that this Asvali cannot be easily removed.
Yeah, the Mira guy too is going to be another one that needs to be answered very quickly. And because those Mandible Claws only typically come in for 3, that 4 toughness on that Mira guy is something that Rhea is going to be looking for a good consistent way to answer.
Coming for 2, but also 2 sources of arcane, 2 separate sources of arcane, one from Burn Them All, one from Asvali. Then you're looking at 2 physical. You're also following that up with Ash Wings out of nowhere. You got 4 Ash Wings just sitting on the table there, waiting just to flap their wings and cause a ruckus. 4 damage
Little
after
hungry
this.
dragons.
That's right. They're just going to be flying around, just waiting, pecking, trying to just drop that life total or pick cards out of the hand of Levia. The 2 arcane damage is resolved, is dealt with, pitching to stop one of them, that Shade and Death Hydra. And then taking the 2 damage, now we see the Ash Wings, the army of dragons begins to fly overhead. And there's the pop, but it leaves a 2-card hand, a little bit of an awkward scenario. You have the life lead. You don't have the ability to flip in this matchup anymore because you've passed that point. And you're able to throw this Endless Maw, which, let's see, I do believe it hits, which is going to come for 9. So you're trying to put Dromi far enough on the back foot, but I feel like this is perhaps the best case scenario for Dromi to be in, where you can value block with your board, just send back damage. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it will be interesting to see how Matt kind of wants to start looking to close this game out.
Enlightened Strike, sinking the card to the bottom. Most likely choosing Go again here. Or we could choose damage and then Snapdragon Scalers as well. What would you pick here, Mara?
I think we're getting close enough to the end of the game where I'm starting to look to try and find some value on the Snapdragons. But we'll see how it goes.
I could see any 3 of these options have some merit. You could choose Go again and just try to keep your Snapdragons up for another turn, maybe the next turn that you draw into something. Game is quite it's quite long in the tooth, as they say, so you could just choose +2 and choose to snap, or you could choose draw a card and it could provide you some extra fuel. You could look at how many 0 for 4s you've been through. Just gonna choose the 5 Go again here.
Yeah. I will say one of the merits of running the heavy red line deck is that 5 draw card tends to be a very powerful option as well, just because knowing that you're very likely to pull something that's
Burn Them All resolves here. Got the Asvali damage as well to deal with. 2 points of Arcane, and Arcane is really shaping up to be the damage dealing source of choice at this point. You have the capacity to block this, but it's not going to have Phantasm, so popping makes no sense here. Instead, giving equipment finally from that Apex Bonebreaker makes a ton of sense. And then the Ashwing army descends. There are 3 left. This is going to be met with a popper, and it's going to give a 3-card hand to Rhea. And she's got to find some answers because the questions are being asked of Dromi. She's got an Asvalai. She's got a Miragai on the board. How does she go about dealing with this? Finally, the answer is the Miragai. Blue Dread Screamer coming for 4. Going to be able to mop that up. That Miragai is going to come off the board. Maybe give her a little bit of reprieve and the resources to pitch and remove Asvalai thanks to the Mandible Claw here. Means that she has some capacity in this game with only 2 Aether Ashwings on the board and drawing into a popper to be able to deal with it. But that just cedes full tempo over to the side of Matt, who starts things off with an Enlightened Strike. Choosing modes here. Now, this could be another option. He's going to choose the draw card. I think this is fantastic, particularly because of the Flame Call Awakening and wanting more resources to power that up. It cost 1 to play Flame Call Awakening, and it does basically recoup itself since we've played a red card. It allows you to go and fetch that Phoenix Flame.
Yeah,
And
just really looking for those physical damage pushes without having to rely on that Phantasm.
5, going to be the snap target here. Drawing into that Miragai, and what do you do with these 3 cards? You have 2 Flame Call Awakenings and an Invoke Miragai. Mara, where's your line here?
That the Miragai is still pretty powerful, and again just gives us a little bit more of that damage and forcing more things for Rhea to have to deal with. But I don't know. Looking for a little bit more physical damage too is also not a terrible option here.
He's almost spoiled with choices at this point, just being able to snaps here and pitch a flame call awakening to play the flame call awakening, have the Phoenix flame scale furnace it to have an extra resource, and like all of this is just comfortable. You could do a couple of other lines as well, and I feel like any of those that he chooses is just all winning for him. And it's up to Rhea to find some amount of cards to really stem this tide and try to defend. She's playing a defensive Art of War here, drawing into a Blood Rush Bellow, another Shade and Death Hydra. But presented with lethal on the board at this point. See how this 5 is being blocked, met, resolved, if you will. Have 2 block on the Apex and Scabskin combined. So you could throw both of those plus a card from hand to try and deal with this. Trying to fix up the pitch here. Maybe the modes were chosen incorrectly, perhaps. And it's going to be the Apex plus the Shade and Death Hydra as the block here. Blocking for 5, creating a Might token off that Apex Bonebreaker, and there's the snaps that was very much face up. Rhea gives it the nod, as she knew, to expect this continuation of a turn. Yep, and the Flame Call Awakening, pitching the Flame Call Awakening to go and fetch that Phoenix Flame.
Yep.
You mentioned it, Mara, the idea of just pushing more physical damage. This is damage that has to be respected no matter what, because it cannot be met with a popper. And Matt doesn't know the composition of Rhea's hand and know how dire the straights are, but he knows that this is 3 damage that represents almost all of the remaining life points.
Yeah. And then, like I say, if we do see that Miragai come down, Rhea's going to be in a position now where Rhea has very little life to play with, but then also needs to get that Miragai off the board. That Miragai just represents that constant damage every turn until it gets answered. And Rhea doesn't have a lot of breathing room to just take that damage for free.
And all of this underscores, I think, the most looming danger, which is not being able to turn off Blood Debt. Does she have the capacity to survive multiple turns, perhaps, of turning off Blood Debt and not just dying to those cards and banished?
Yeah.
Here's the pop of the dragon. Miragai still stays on the board. Burn Them All ticks up. Arcane Damage isn't out. Mirror Guy and Phantasm isn't out. And that's just going to do it. Unfortunately, no way to turn off Blood Debt means that the game is essentially over. And Matt punches his ticket to 4-2 record. A really strong showing from him across these 6 weeks of the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And a great way to go out. I think the Dromi Levia matchup is always a very interesting one where, we have this deck loaded with all those 6 power poppers and trying to navigate that and find that line between playing your phantasm attacks and your physical attacks. I think is always a difficult one for a Dromi player to really get behind.
So
Yeah.
Matt picks up the win. He punches his ticket, like I said, to 4-2. But don't go too far because we got some more great games from this week 6 coming up. So stay tuned, and we'll see you back here in a little bit.
Alrighty, welcome in everybody to week 6 here of the ArcLight League, and my name is Sam O'Byrne, and I am lucky enough to be joined by Mr. Josh Lau, world traveler, pro tour perennial competitor, and one of the nicest guys you'll meet playing Fab. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing well. I'm back in the States from my Asian adventures, and today I get to watch my teammate play Bolton. So this is I'm going to be a happy man here.
Yeah, you get to really practice being impartial, right? And not just putting all your eggs into the Mr. Nathan Crawford basket. But I'm stoked that we get to listen to you, talk about some of your expertise in not only the matchup, but like I'm excited to hear you kind of dive into maybe Nathan's psyche throughout certain turns because you might know him so well. We've got both players here at 3-1 currently in the league. Lucas Oswald is going to be Nathan's opponent on Kayo, Armed and Dangerous, and then of course Nathan Crawford on Sir Bolton, which is not necessarily the warrior that's been on top of everyone's mind, but with a certain dragon lady rotating, perhaps Bolton gets just a little bit better in the mix.
Yep, his stock definitely has gone up. Lucas is a very, very strong opponent, though, and he's playing what many consider to be the best deck in the format. Sir Bolton does have the tools to take him down, though, so this should be good.
All right, well, let's waste no time, get right into it. It's time for week 6 of the ArcLight League. Lucas Oswald versus Nathan Crawford. Let's go. Alrighty, folks, let's get down into the game here. Let's see which player is going first. Looks like potentially we're on Nathan's turn because that tunic is not on its first counter. So let's see exactly how Nathan wants to progress this turn here. And looking immediately, get down into it, Josh. What are you trying to do on this turn? This turn looks a little awkward.
I'm very, very, very excited to cast this game because this is the list that the card guys had up their sleeve for Pro Tour. We tested this list. I recognize it because it has Valiant Dynamos, doesn't have Snapdragons. It's running Iron Song Versus instead of Gallantry Gold, but it is running the Centauri Saber Hot Streak. This deck list is very unique in that it is a mid-range Bolton deck list that has the ability to combo. Whoa. And we're going to sort of see that. We're going to see Nathan play a bit of a mid-ranging game. He has quite a few non-light cards. If this is the deck list, in which it looks like based on the equipment, it has things like Slice and Dice, Blade Runner, Blade Flurry, Glint the Quicksilver. These all allow Bolton to play a mid-ranging game, and it also improves the post-combo game as well. So this is very, very exciting stuff here. Yeah, so just turn 0, just charging the soul. So what we're going to be looking out for is basically, this game is going to revolve around the headpiece quite a bit. Nathan's going to need to bait out the flesh bag if possible, or set up Spirit of Arena into play and flash those Luminas in to get around that.
Well, this looks like a banger of a first turn here for Lucas. We get to go ahead and do the Enlightened Strike with the go again, and we're lucky enough to see, thanks to the magic of editing, that there are a couple pretty powerful cards in the hand remaining for Lucas. A Cast Bone's probably going to follow this, and then a Runner. If we're able to keep if we're able to make the Agility token on the turn, all of a sudden our next turn not only comes in for 12 with go again, but makes an Agility token on the back end. So if you're Nathan staring down this attack for 5, how often when are these raw numbers just something you have to respect, or are you always thinking about the send packings or the potential for more spiky turns?
Because Nathan does not have a combo piece in Arsenal, he doesn't really need to respect the wideness of the turn. I think he arsenaled a Soul Shield, so he's definitely going to be wanting to get that out of there just in case there is something else in the back. But looks like he's just going to go for a turn where he sets up some more Soul. It is pretty important to combo with enough Soul. However, because the way that one of the reasons we developed this deck is because this deck is very good into attack action based decks, and Kayo is probably running 55 plus attack action cards. The main reason is when you send Hot Streak in, they can't really stop it. If they don't stop it, the Lumina's trigger, you get a bunch of Soul. If they do try to block it, you get go again. So you don't need very much Soul to combo with Bolton against Kayo, but he does need a little bit more, and that's what this turn is going to be. He's going to probably play the Take Flight, set up that Quicken token by charging the Banner of Gallantry, and be set for the next turn. And it looks like Lucas did not reveal 6 cards, or did 6 attacks.
Yeah, no, there was a Cast Bones in that pile of 6. It's also currently in the hand, as well as an Agile Windup, which kind of presents him with this interesting question. He can discard the Agile Windup at instant speed on Nathan's turn to make the Agility token, which would give the Runner in the arsenal go again. But first, he's kind of see exactly what Nathan's going to throw. And he's doing a bunch of charging here, or a little bit of charging, trying to set up like you described. But the turn isn't that threatening, so there's not going to be that much damage being presented to Lucas, right?
It's not very threatening, but this Bolton deck list, Nathan just reset his Valiant Dynamos.
True.
So
true.
this he took the play that was a higher value. Also, So okay, this hand is a little rough, unfortunately. But the Sync Blow might save it.
Yeah, the hand blocks pretty well, but critically, that extra agility that the Agile Windup did create on the end of Nathan's turn does allow, even though the Cast Bones didn't make the arsenaled Runner have go again thanks to the 6 might tokens, it still has the go again thanks to that Agile Windup. So now coming in for 11 with go again. And now if if Lucas wants, he can follow this up with a second cast bones that will already automatically have the agility thanks to the runner. I wouldn't say that perhaps a Beast Within is your preferred
No.
arsenal target,
Mhm.
but it is certainly, something that can be powered up by a bunch of might tokens.
Yeah, sometimes vanilla damage is just the name of the game. I mean, like Brute has. I've always joked that hey, Brute doesn't have on hits. Their on hit is extra damage is death. But they do have more on hits now. Send packing is one of the best tools that Lucas has in this matchup. Nathan really going to need to consider very carefully what he wants to do here because he has Soul Shield in Arsenal. This hand is close to playable. If he gets something off the sink below, but I think that's a little bit of a more risky line. I would like to just see him just block with his hand here and move on with things.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the cards that Lucas revealed was a Command and Conquer as well. So he has to be considering if he tries to hold to these defense reactions, that the card following this might be a Command and Conquer that would turn that Soul Shield into something that's certainly much more targetable. So definitely, you have to imagine he's thinking about that as one of the options, getting the Sync Blow out of the hand just in case the Command and Conquer is the follow here.
Yeah, this is a very awkward hand because even if he draws a yellow or blue, he really does want to get that Sync Blow out of the or the Soul Shield out of the arsenal, which would require that yellow or blue. And then his turn doesn't operate in a very smooth way. It's probably just okay, looks like he's just gonna pitch and Soul Shield here. And I mean, you could arsenal the CNC. That is definitely not what you want to do, though. You're not happy. That's what you're gonna do, but you're not happy to do it because that forces you into a play lane where you have to, like, let's say he draws a combo piece on the next turn. He draws a Luminous Ancient or Beacon of Victory on the next turn. He has to play the Command and Conquer out from his arsenal, which means it opens him up to on hits or just to a lot of damage. But he is at a very healthy life total, so the life total for Bolton is definitely one of the best resources he has. And looks like the cast bones did hit this time.
Yeah, gonna follow that up, making 6 might tokens. The agility token actually redundant thanks to the runner at the start of Lucas's turn. But like you'd mentioned, that Command and Conquer, not a great arsenal target, so he's just gonna go ahead, Nathan is, and convert it into 2 damage from the Centauri Saber. Do you think he was expecting to block with that card? Would something like a Blade Runner or the Blade Flurry be a better arsenal target, even though he pitched those away? What do you think was part of that decision?
I think he just, because he hasn't seen a combo piece for 3 or 4 turns, I think he's just like, okay, there's a pretty high chance that I'll see one in the next hand. I don't want the arsenal card. Like, let's say he drew a combo piece plus 3 reds. Then his turn is really, really bad because he has to pitch 2 reds into the CNC. So I think he took the more stable play here. But this is a ton of damage coming across, and I mean, these are powerful cards. This is a playable hand from Nathan, but I think because you're at 3 soul, I think you're just blocking out till you see your combo. If I were him.
This is 12 damage with Go again. There is the Tunic up, so any, either of those 2 cost attacks are available to Lucas, as well as that Beast Within in the arsenal, if you want to go ahead and pitch everything into it.
There's the Command and Conquer. That's actually something I kind of forgot about that you mentioned earlier, is that Nathan knows that there's a Command and Conquer in the next hand, even less incentive.
Oh, of course, to keep an
arsenal card, especially a subpar arsenal card. So Nathan knows that there's a CN. I'm pretty sure he could deduce that there is a CNC in hand right now. I think we're likely to see Lucas empty his arsenal and then put the CNC into arsenal. That would be a very, very strong play because you start noticing the Bolton doesn't want to block, then you go for the CNC. But looks like he's just going to rip it here, going to keep the Beast Within in arsenal. I don't know if I agree with that play entirely, especially when there's no relevant on hit here except 3 damage.
Well, yeah, I don't think he could clear it out without utilizing the CNC as well, right? Because Beast Within cost 3, you only had the one.
Oh
clear
yeah,
one.
yep.
But this is going to be a Scabskin Leathers coming in, and it does hit on the 5, so 2 action points on the turn, no agility, and a pretty awkward hand here for for Lucas. You see why he wanted to go ahead and activate the Scabskins. Never punished, always lucky. Going to come in, finally getting to clear that out of the arsenal. 6, not go again, but 1 action point expended thanks to the Scabskin Leathers.
Yeah, one of the great things about casting this league is that we have player cams, and we can't hear what they were saying, but I'm pretty sure Nathan was like, "Oh, you lucky man! You have 5 cards, full tempo. You rip the Scabskins. Normally, that's not the play, right? Because you have full tempo, 5-card hand. But Lucas was like, nope, this hand is unplayable if I don't do this. So, yeah. So over on Nathan's side, we see that he does have a combo piece. And he does have 3 other cards that I presume are just going to be blocking this turn. There's not really... yeah, just preserve the V of the Vanguard. Maybe if there's nothing major coming, he would pitch the V. But the swing big. So this is actually a very tempting situation to use the armor. Because without Snapdragons, without Spirit of Arena in the field, he would have to start his combo with Take Flight, which is a little bit risky. This is actually coming down to that moment that I was talking about at the beginning. The Scowling Flesh Bag is extremely strong if you're comboing with Beacon of Victory. If you're comboing with Lumina Ascension, it's less threatening, especially if you have Spirit out, because during the defensive step, they put the Scowling Flesh Bag trigger on the stack. You can respond with an instant speed Lumina, but you cannot respond with Beacon. So if the Scowling Flesh Bag grabs a Beacon or grabs a Lumina when you don't have Spirit of Arena, you actually can't combo. That's the main issue. But we're going to see how Nathan wants to do this. There's several ways to do this. You either do it the risky way, where you're like, well, you're just going to hit the other card. You're not going to hit my combo piece. Or he could fake a combo, which I think is the likely play. He's going to pretend that he's going to combo. He's going to get the Scowling Flesh Bag, and then he's going to combo on the next turn.
Oh, that's cool.
Or he could just wait for Spirit of Arena. He has 3 options here. We'll see which one he takes. He's likely to take the second option, do a fake combo. And looks like he's going to preserve his armor. I think that's quite good. It protects him against CNC, protects him against sun packing. And he's going to Arsenal the Lumina, pass it back. And
let's go another Scabskin Leathers, and it's into a 1, unfortunately. So that's going to be the turn pass for Lucas. Once again, without the agility tokens or the wild rides or similar effects, it's hard for these KO decks to find the go again. And the answer for Lucas there was there was no answer. No answer to the go again question. The Scabskin Leather's going to hit the one. It giveth, it taketh away. So now we've talked about the tempo being on Lucas' side. Seems like things have maybe turned back into the corner of Mr. Nathan Crawford.
Well, this is one of the worst hands in terms of utilization for Bolton. Unfortunately, there are hands. There have been many hands where I just like charge a blue and attack with a blue. I'm like, 1 on hit, go to soul, and then they're like, okay. This is basically what has happened here. He played his Engulfing Light, charged a card, and he's gonna. He blocked with an attack action, so he gave it go again. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay, so just trying to utilize his hand a little bit better. Going to hang on to the sink below. I think that's fine. Very
I mean, it's interesting. Lucas here, he has the same cards in his hand from last turn when he felt like he needed to use Scabskin Leathers, right? Nothing's really changed except his tunic going to be on. It's time for Scabskins once again because, again, this hand is pretty awkward. He's got the 3rd cast bones. He's got a blue in the arsenal. He's got a blue in the hand and then that Command and Conquer. So the Command and Conquer here would, make those 2 defense reactions in Nathan's hand certainly much less enticing because they can't be played. But otherwise, you're playing blue Assault and Battery. You're going to go ahead and beat chest with the Command and Conquer. So now you get an agility and a might for your next turn. But once again, Nathan's going to be able to see what he can do. He's got a Lumina in the arsenal. He's got a V the Vanguard in the hand. He's got a Banneret. But that Scowling Fleshback is still sitting there for Lucas. So when you're staring down this attack, if you're in the Bolton seat, what are you thinking?
I think you try to fake combo at this situation, in this situation. Try to get the Scowling Flesh Bag. Lucas is really a unga bunga gamer. He is all gas, no brakes. Really rolling the scab skids. Got rewarded once, got punished once, and nothing happened on the third time. And all right, so that's sync. So this is not an actual combo because he used the sync below to block. So Lucas shouldn't be tricked because there's only one card unknown here. But likely that Nathan is going to give this go again and then come in with 2 sabers. Just chip down the life total. It's very important as combo Bolton to get the life total below 30 because the full double Lumina combo with Gallantry Gold, well, no, there's no Gallantry Gold in this case. So the double Lumina combo in this case would deal 24 damage. So if they're around 30, in this case 26, you put them at single-digit life totals, and then you could end the game with things like Blade Runner, Blade Flurry, Beacon of Victory via the Vanguard. That's likely what we're going to see here. And Lucas drops
Lucas
to 20.
just took everything. Yeah, took everything. Goes to 20 because this hand looks quite good. It's a Bare Fangs with the go again, discarding that runner. There's now, I think, a Wild Ride in the hand and a Blood Rush Bella with one floating, which could be a very interesting play here for Lucas if he wants to go for it.
Decision time for Nathan Crawford. He has the combo, but he doesn't have Spirit of Arena, and it is the Beacon of Victory in hand. So his turn will be Engulfing Light, Charge, Command, and Conquer. And if Lucas throws the flesh bag in front of it and rips the Beacon of Victory, his turn becomes awful.
Yeah.
But he will get to try it again next turn.
Yeah, so that would bait the Scowling, like you mentioned. But the question is, will he be alive long enough to see the effect? He does have all of that armor available to him. Though this is proving to be a big turn already. Big old 9 spot on the Bare Fangs with go again. So like you said, decision time for Nathan is why we're seeing him delve into the tank.
I think with the life lead at the moment, you can take the risky line. The only downside is that you would end up with Beaming Bravado in your arsenal. Okay, looks like he's going to take the more conservative line. Interesting,
yeah. Can you go ahead and take 6? So what does this tell you about what Nathan's thinking? You say this is a little more conservative.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure what he's thinking here.
Well, the Blood Rush Bellow isn't going to get played. He's just going to go ahead and pitch this into the Wild Ride.
Is that a Command and Conquer in Lucas's arsenal? If it is, maybe Nathan picked up on that. But I think he might be waiting for Spirit of Arena. He has gone through half his deck, so that is a little bit of a risky thing to do though, because Spirit of Arena could literally be like the 56th card from the top, and then you're just sad. So
I'm pretty sure the card in Arsenal is a Cast Bones.
Cast Bones. Okay, right. From last.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, with all the armor, I think I would have liked to see Nathan try this. Although he would have lost at least 9 health. So there's some risk that if the Scowling hits the beacon, things are pretty bad. Looks like it's just... Okay, so...
This is a huge turn from Lucas, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'll be honest, I think Nathan misplayed this. You need the extra card because now the Scowling is guaranteed to hit the combo piece. Now, here's the thing. Nathan might be thinking on another level here. I actually didn't even realize this. Because he blocked with the card, it makes Lucas go, oh, he blocked with the card, he's not comboing this turn. But that is true if you're running Gallantry Gold, because you need the 5th card to pitch for Gallantry Gold. Because Nathan doesn't have Gallantry Gold, he can combo with 4 cards. So actually, this might be like next level genius here from Nathan. This is very interesting. And initially, I thought this was a misplay, but if Lucas does not block with his Scowling Fleshbag right here, he's a dead man.
Well, I think we're in reaction step, perhaps. So it's looking like Lucas has left that Scowling Fleshbag hanging out in the equipment zone, given that he was not scared of the turn here from Bolton, like you said, because of the card was used to block.
Yep. And this I'll be frank, I don't even know if Lucas is going to get to keep a single card here. Depending on 20 life plus all these cards in hand, he effectively has 30-something life, so he should be okay. But he'll probably get to keep a card or two, but this turn is going to hurt, and Nathan is going to heal for a lot. Now, another thing I got to point out, Nathan did not block with his Courage of Blade Hold. That is actually why Lucas did not block with his Scowling Fleshbag, because it's like, well, he didn't block with Courage. He's not comboing.
Yeah, some big brain maneuvering
this is some
here from
big
Mr.
brain
Nathan
plays
Crawford.
here. Oh my goodness. And here we go. Double Lumina Ascension. Crack the Courage, the fresh Courage. And
look at this. Courage of
time
Blade
for a
Hold gonna go ahead and be cracked on the turn. Go for it.
He didn't even block with the Valiant Dynamos. The Dynamos are gonna get reset here. So he forgone. He forgave he let go of 3 value on his armor just to trick Lucas. And I think he's gonna get paid off here.
That is incredibly quick thinking from Nathan Crawford, because now all the setup from that Cast Bones turn is going to be maybe negated, given there's going to be so many attacks. Bolton just whirling through the air, spinning these sabers around him in a cyclone of death as the Lumina Ascensions ×2 have come out to play here. So Kayo all of a sudden in a much different position. You know, Lucas has gotten to resolve 3 Cast Bones, but perhaps that might not be enough yet.
So let's talk defensively here for Lucas. If you are going to block with cards from hand, you're going to block on the 3rd hot streak. The reason being, if you block the Centauri Sabers, they get buffed by 2 because of the Saber and Sir Bolton's ability. If you block an early hot streak, that effectively gives Nathan extra soul, which means he has extra soul to Beacon of Victory, Cataclysm you. So, in terms of blocks, Lucas is kind of like shaking his chair. He's like, well, I think you got me, sir. He got him. He got me.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. He perhaps got all of us, as Nathan here showing that. I think it's always exciting when players in Flesh and Blood utilize hidden information and kind of, you know, some of that tricksiness in a game where really some of the only staying power on any given turn cycle is your arsenal. It can sometimes be hard because your opponent is just often dealing with, well, it's just 4 random cards at the top of the deck. How much can I really quote unquote play around? But like you said, not blocking with the Courage, not blocking with the Valiant Dynamo, blocking with the card from hand really painted a very different story of this turn. And then Nathan utilized the story that he spun for Lucas to just absolutely go for it and combo off in a way that might go ahead and steal this game away from Kayo.
This game is really, really... Flesh and Blood in general is very beautiful, but this is a very, very good example of being able... So Lucas is a high-level logical player, and he knows that Nathan is a logical high-level player. Now, the downfall is when you assume that your opponent is going to play logically. It's like, why would you not block with your Courage and Valiant Dynamos if you're going to combo? That makes no sense. And Nathan's like, I know that you're going to think that. And I could take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's funny.
This is not the correct block. Do not block the first hot streak, Lucas. You're going to give him +2 soul. If you're going to block at all, you block on the 3rd hot streak.
You can see Lucas
is he's like, damn, you got me.
It's funny in Flesh and Blood. There's often, especially at high level, people expect you to play quote unquote by the rules, by the value, and when you can break that from your opponent, all of a sudden it does give you some extra edge.
So I'll because this block is taking a while, I'll tell a quick story. So in Phuket, I played Singing Steelblade in my Hatchets deck, and people were like, "What? Why are you playing that?" I'm like, "Well, surprise."
That's not allowed. That's not allowed. That's not in the list. I didn't see that in the list online. I'm not supposed to have to play around that.
Nope. So being unpredictable, like we often, some people think that Flesh and Blood just devolves into a complicated math problem, but this is a very good example of there's a lot of beauty. Flesh and Blood can be an art, in addition to being a math problem as well. And all right, all the hot streaks coming in hot, and Lucas's life total gonna drop down into the single digits. Bunch of cards getting revealed, entering the soul, gaining life, and he still has the Warband of Bolana block, still has the Iron Song versus block, so he is comfortably gonna be above 20 life, which means Lucas, he'll get to keep his hand, but Nathan is not likely to die next turn. So
Yeah, well,
let's just
we're gonna have to see where that all shakes out. It's time for another Centauri Saber attack. This one's coming in for 4. Let's see if Armor wants to go in front of this for Lucas. At least 2, and for the Leathers and the Flesh Bag coming in to try to keep some cards here for Mr. Oswald.
Yeah, anytime Scowling Flesh Bag blocks for exactly 2, that is a win for the other.
You're feeling good. Yeah.
Yep. And gonna have to give the Tunic drop to 1 just to keep the whole hand. He has a Bear Fangs, a Wild Ride, and I think that's an Assault and Battery. I think if it's 5 power, it's a blue. So he does have the ability to go. Well, let's see.
Yeah, it's tough, right?
Yeah, this is at 1. You're playing with fire.
The play is just going to be damage, right? We're just going Bear Fangs because it already has the go again. Any card that is drawn and or discarded will allow for 3 more damage thanks to the Mandible Claw. So this is, just 16 with go again.
16 into 3 is not enough, though.
Yeah, especially with all that armor for Nathan.
Yes. So I anticipate a single card block into Take Flight, Charge Soul Shield, into Hot Streak, into Centauri Saber. And that should end the game. So that means we have 8 defensive value committed to this turn, which means Nathan will take 8 and then take 3. So he'll drop to 6. Yeah, so this should be a very, very straightforward victory. The next turn is going to be very, very, very difficult for Kayo to block. It's going to be 4 or 5 into 2 or 3 with almost certainly go again. Into 2 or 4, and at 1, all those breakpoints just gonna. He may not die next turn because he still has armor. But if he draws a no block, he will die.
Yeah.
So Nathan, all he has to do is keep a blue, keep the Take Flight, and he's got the win. I think he's just calculating: is there any there's no 1-cost cards in the Brute deck list, so I think he can safely say that this is just 16 into 3.
And so Nathan last turn, I think, started the turn before he comboed around 12, right? Just about 12. So that's 6 life that you described. He's going to end the turn at 6. That's 6 life that he needed almost all the life gained from the Lumina Ascension to be able to stay alive with exactly enough, exactly the amount of cards to really kind of finish this thing out potentially.
Yep.
So the Bear Fangs, like you said, there's 8 defensive value being committed to the block. And so now for Lucas after this, he's going to have to kind of take a moment and think, is there any out for me? Only 1 Blood Rush Bellow, I think, has been seen. So there are a couple non-attacks that could be drawn here for Lucas to, make the Bolton ability just a little less powerful.
He needs to draw Blood Rush Bellow this draw cycle. To stop the hot streak from having go again.
Yeah.
If he does not, he will lose the game. All right. Nathan should drop to 6, and that Take Flight is going to be very, very annoying. Going to demand both armor pieces plus a card from hand. He cannot commit. So he drew the Blood Rush Bellow. He cannot commit the Blood Rush. He cannot commit the Blood Rush Bellow to this attack because he needs it to stop the hot streak. So he will survive. Because Certainly. He drew the non-attack, but he does have a no block in hand as well. So we're going to see a card committed plus the 2 armor, and then we'll see the Blood Rush Bellow block the hot streak, which means he'll have 2 cards. Ooh, I don't know about this.
Putting 2 cards in front of the Take Flight here.
Okay, so trying to set the Wild Ride into Arsenal, I guess, is okay. The older style of Bolton combo decks did have some bricky post-combo turns, but this build of Bolton is not going to brick post-combo as you can just see right here.
Yeah, look at that. There's a bunch of attack reactions in the hand here.
Goodbye,
Nathan.
Kayo.
Hot
Yep.
Streak now coming in. This is going to be 3 with Go again, thanks to the Slice and Dice. And there are just a 2-pack of reactions down there that are going to make Mr. Lucas Oswald's turn just a whole lot more challenging to try to navigate. Here's 3. If you block with an attack, it goes up to 4. You're at 1, so you have to put a couple cards in front of this already.
Yep. And this is like we saw that Kasai, Olympia, Dorinthia all played these 2 cards that you see here. Blade Runner, Blade Flurry. They're god tier cards, and Sir Bolton can definitely wield them just as well.
Yeah, and there's the Blade Flurry because, of course, Bolton hadn't charged, right? So the Hot Streak was actually only coming in for 3, even with the attack action block. My mistake there.
Yep.
But the Blade Flurry is just going to come across and finish this game out. Nathan Crawford, he's just going ahead and nodding his head a bit. Lucas can do not but look away from the screen as the Blade Flurry comes in and finishes the game after that double Lumina combo from Mr. Crawford. What a game, my friend.
That was a very beautiful game.
It was. I agree.
That all came down to the flesh bag. That is the the pinpoint decision of that game was: do you throw the flesh bag here on a turn where it does not look like a combo turn? He had to get the read. He did not get the read, and Lumina did not go Boomina because that Lumina go Boomina is a triple Lumina.
Yes,
but
yes.
Still, a double Lumina got him there, healed him enough for the buffer so he could survive the crackback, keeping cards, and he was able to close it out. Very, very well played.
Perhaps Lumina did not go Boomina, but I believe it did go Doomina, as it did spell the doom there for Mr. Lucas Oswald. What a cool, not only turn, that pivotal turn that Nathan Crawford was able to, kind of actuate, but also just like you said, what a cool, beautiful game here from our 2 top-level competitors here in Week 6 of the ArcLight League. So now Nathan moves on to 4-1. Your teammate got to be feeling pretty good, repping the card, guys, as he moves forward. It's going to be exciting to see exactly how the progressing weeks of this tournament series goes for these players. But Nathan's got to be feeling pretty good.
Yep.
And you can take all the credit, right? This is all.
No.
Credit, right?
Actually, he was the one that initially had the idea for this deck list, and I was like, let me tune this a little bit, and then we're started playing it locally, and we're like, guys, this deck list is pretty good. Played it on Tal Show, we're like, guys, this deck list is pretty good. Made the pivot to Dory at the last moment though, and he pivoted to Victor, but we were both like, okay, this deck list does have some legs.
Yeah. Well, now all of a sudden, perhaps in a post Dromi world, this deck list will have even more legs. There's a lot of these attack reactions that Kasai and Dory does like. When you also have access to that game-breaking end-game Lumina Ascension combo, perhaps it is what is needed to put the Breaker of Dawn finally across the finish line into the top of the meta. And I'm excited to see my cousin. We were talking before the stream. My cousin is getting into Bolton, so I'm going to be facing down. I'm going to be facing down these attacks myself, and I can't say I'm looking forward to it, but we'll see what we can do.
All right, try your best. He is very, very difficult to defend against for quite a few heroes of the game. So
absolutely. Yep. Well, thank you all for joining us here for this incredible game of the ArcLight League. My name is Sam. Josh, thank you again for joining me and joining us all here watching the game. Hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye. Take care, guys.
Hey, and welcome back to the ArcLight League Week 6. I'm your host, Taylor Crawford, with a co-host, Ray Adams, for today's episode. So, for this matchup, we have Easton Douglas on Victor and Alexander Vore on Kayo. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Ray?
Well, I'm a KO expert, having played it for a grand total of 1 week in the ArcLight League. I think both are kind of very math-based decks. I think Victor struggles to win his clashes a lot, which we see both in the limited format, also kind of like being extended out here in constructed. I have a little bit of personal bias here. Easton is my teammate on Team Ascent, but you know what? I think I might have to root for him.
Yeah, so going into this matchup, I'm pretty sure that it is KO favored. What really depends from the Victor side is the CNC pummels and how well they line up to what the KO is looking to do. Spinal, of course, but the issue with Spinal is it's a 2-card block, and then the KO gets to throw a 2-card hand. And KO's 2-card hands tend to be much better than Victor's 2-card hands, and I think that's where this matchup is going to really be looking to go.
You mean Victor doesn't have 2-card 10s with Bear Fangs?
Not yet. Let's get a couple more expansion slots, and we'll see if we can get like a Victor one going.
Okay, we'll visit the Gold Main Estate a few more times. Let's jump into
it. That'd be awesome.
So starting the match, we see both players here. I really was expecting the Kano mirror. I don't know about you. These are both wizard aficionados, but Ron K.A. blank O hero, I guess.
Yeah, it was surprising that Vore was like, hey, I know, the wizard specialist over here, Easton Douglas, I'm going to play Victor today and have a good time.
Well, I think we see exactly what you were just mentioning here. CNC going into the Arsenal turn 0, that might be what Alex needs to win this game, right?
Yeah. Another important thing to note here is also playing plating, which is very interesting because most decks now have pivoted over to Tunic.
Yeah,
to allow the 3-card CNC pummel.
Can't 3-card CNC pummel with a seismic surge. That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Pulping in hand, dodging the fact that it's a no block there.
Yeah, so pulping's actually pretty relevant into Victor. Victor doesn't tend to run D-reacts, and if they do, there's only 3 sinks, because the block cards in the deck tend to function like a super defense reaction, but in case of Dominate, it is not.
Well, starting off the bat with the Dominate, are we thinking we're going to chew through armor here, or is that reserved for like more on-hitty stuff?
I believe that the armor should be weighted as long as possible in this matchup to kind of keep a bigger hand for disruption, such as a Spinal, knowing that your hand is 4 blues and a CNC, probably looking to block with 3 cards, throw the CNC, and then arsenal a good mathematical card such as Thunderquake.
Okay.
Or Perennial. So, the Victor 3-card 8.
The good old 3-card 8.
Yeah. Probably the reason there to throw the footsteps is because you are assuring that your opponent is probably going to claw and not lose the value of the Quicken. So it is best to throw there to guarantee that you get the value from the steps, not...
Yeah, card already discarded, so claw having double go again. Luckily does not do anything.
That CNC in your arsenal looks funny here. So.
I mean, there's always block and hammer for 4, right?
That's so boring. What's the block?
So the real question here, I think, is: are we going to see Aurum Aegis block 3, or see it be used as a gold in this game?
I actually think we'll see it used as a gold for a test of strength. Because Victor is only good when he wins clashes, and this is a really rough matchup to win a clash in.
Okay.
So, I'll be surprised if we don't see a test of strength break the shield.
Well, we do see a Send Packing in Easton's hand. We might be able to out-CNC Victor here.
Don't do that to my boy. I love me some Victor. So interesting cards here, looking at the flesh bag. Of course, you want to play around it, but of course, you actually want to play into it the first time. So if you throw CNC with 2 cards in hand, it is okay to IP yourself to get the flesh bag out of the way early, because your opponent's going to want to play it to avoid the CNC pummel. So that is kind of where the mind trick of this matchup goes, is the Guardian Brute matchup. So, hey,
it's here. It's here. Sun packing, unfortunately disrupting this though. There's 7 armor block.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going to see happen?
How would you block here, Rayo?
Oh, this is kind of unfortunate, huh?
Yeah, you can really throw up a big sign to your opponent that you have CNC pummel by blocking 4 off the equipment, throwing the spinal, and then throwing a CNC with 2-card hand. I mean, of course, they're going to flashback you in that rate. But because this doesn't have go again, you're also looking... I mean, this is also a 4-card 7, to be fair.
You're very clearly... Easton, at least, is very clearly telegraphing that he has the agile windup, because otherwise he wouldn't be holding a card here, right? So the CNC probably more useful on this turn cycle to threaten the utility of that agility token. I don't know... Even if you give the Spinal Crush here, though, you're not threatening the pummel on top of the CNC. It might be worth it.
Yeah. Just throw the CNC Arsenal pummel. Because, like, if you Arsenal a pummel here, it guarantees that they can't flashback it, which is pretty important.
Right, yes.
So it does look like they want to block with the 2 equipment pieces and 3 block from hand. Let's see.
So we're still threatening the pummel, just asking if we want to go throw away the flesh bag now.
Yeah, this is what we talked about earlier with the baiting. Because of course this isn't a bait, but
it does seem pretty face up now.
Yeah, but Easton doesn't know that.
Easton's hand also kind of interesting. There's a Savage Feast and a Cast Bones in the same hand, so a bit of anti-synergy there. Really want to play that Savage Feast with your Agility token for the discard draw off of Tunic, which will be up next turn, but the 1 in 3 odds of hitting that Cast Bones is, I don't know about you, it really scares me.
Yeah, I mean, would you pitch the Cast Bones to play the Savage? To guarantee? What would you do?
I
would
wouldn't.
Back-to-back Battle Harns, so I need a little help here.
You've only won one of them. Okay.
That doesn't mean anything.
I think at this stage in the game, I don't remember what's in the arsenal, but
I believe it is.
We're really thinking about this block, by the way. So Easton also in the tank here. You know, I think at this stage in the game, just CNC with Go again into Cast Bones is probably a big enough threat. You don't get the additional discard for to really ensure that your Cast Bones will hit. But still, the accumulating value on a single turn cycle tends to be how you really make these Guardians trying to block have a very painful time.
Yeah, I can see that. Interesting enough here, if you wanted to give a card from hand as the KO player, what would you give? Oh, the 6 armor block.
Okay, so we like the hand. I think we might be seeing Cast Bones pitched here then.
I would be terrified if this happened.
Are we gonna ultimate greed it? Okay.
The adult play, I love it.
Easton, a more emotionally mature player than me, making the correct decision and not the spicy one.
So we can assume that the line from here is probably going to be Claw, Savage from Arsenal. So we're looking at possibly 18 value plus an Arsenal, which is pretty nuts.
Arsenal of Runner too really helps chain those agilities later on in the game.
Yeah. And that's what we talked about earlier, is that the Victor KO matchup is really dependent on the KO. KO's math is just infinitely better, so you have to get your disruption to line up to their power.
I will say though, we're talking about KO having a huge turn here. Alexander has a red debilitate and has a pocketed pummel. So this could be quite the filthy turn from Victor here. It depends on how much damage he's willing to take.
Oh yeah. And being that this is turn 3 and Ethan gets to use the tunic efficiently is also really nice take there too. Look at that value. I remember when people were talking about Brute never being good. Oh, even better of an
discarding runner into a better arsenal. What a huge draw off the top.
Oh my gosh. So it looks like Boar has accepted that he just wants to Titan Fist. So at what point in this matchup do you think the Victor player goes, hey, I can fatigue KO? It is possible. Of course you have to throw disruption, but at what point do you start thinking, hey, it can be done?
I mean, once I see the first Blood Rush Bellow randomly discarded, then I'm in, right? Then it's like, okay, well that's not a lot of damage.
Oh yeah. So looking at this hand, it looks like you'll just want to throw like a Pack Hunt, or maybe the CNC, discard the Agile Wind-Up. Oh, the 4 red hand. Oh no.
Not great, considering that there is a sink below that you would love to sink. And this is a command and conquer for 7 that Easton is attacking with. What's the play here?
Ooh, this is a tough one the more I think about it. Because you're really hoping to draw a blue, so you want to have like a Macho here. Uh-oh.
Are we going to see Aura Magus destroyed with no block value? No.
No. We're going to see the good old activate tech plating pass line. The 3-card one.
Oh my gosh. So there's an agility, there's a might, there's a CNC and arsenal. And Easton has a cast bones.
Oh. What an insanely great hand.
This is a scary hand for sure.
Yes, it is.
A scary hand on a turn where Victor is essentially taking no game actions. Seismic Surge is, of course, very useful, delaying resources for the next turn cycle, but if you don't have any cards in hand next turn cycle, maybe not so much.
Well, we got a good block in hand here from 4. I'll tell you that.
Wow, we do. Okay, I'm ready for the Trounce to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, for KO. I've gave my good amount of might tokens and vigors to KO before as a collector.
Okay.
And then I went, I probably shouldn't be doing this right now.
One of those controversial cards in the matchup, just like Cast Bones, has been starting to make its way in and out of KO lists recently.
Always interesting hearing about Cast Bones from KO players, because in my mind, I see the card, I'm like, man, this card's going to stomp me into the ground. They're like, oh, I sideboarded out to you. And you're like, what? Sure. I'm scared.
I do think there's something to be said for just how consistent lists have gotten recently, with just being essentially mono 6s and then 3 Blood Rush Bellows.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
I can see the argument both ways.
I think there's 4 KOs in the top 8 of Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm. Cracking the gold. Oh my gosh. Now we're... this is spicy.
Hey, one more card draw and balance is online. That's all that matters.
You're not kidding.
We can get that 5 point of value from a headpiece. I mean, that's like a mini Carrion Husk.
It's like a maxi Carrion Husk. Doesn't deal you any damage for the rest of the game.
True. We'll see.
So we have Droid in here from the agility.
I expect that he's going to want to block with RM early to have a chance to use it as a gold on a later chain link with the Trounce.
Absolutely.
So,
Pack hunting Arsenal.
man, I love it when they pack hunt my D-Reacts. It's like playing Rhinar all over again.
It's what the card's for.
Yeah.
Pack hunt has been a card that has really impressed me in KO, because when I look at it, I just see like no synergy with the hero. It's like a 2 for 6. The amount of times that Intimidate is underwhelming on paper and then overperforms in practice is really incredible. Exactly like what we're seeing right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So thinking of blocks here, you could either try to high roll if you wanted to and give like the shield and a sink below. That way you could use the Trounce and the buckling on the next hand. Knowing that your arsenal has been dead for 3 turns, though, it does feel bad. So Let's see what Vor
Now,
does.
is there ever a world where we sink away the Trounce? Because we're scared of it not working. I guess not. Alex believes. Alex is a true Victor
Vor
player.
is out here to game, and I love that.
Let's go. Double clash. I'm on the edge of my seat. Not a good
Oh.
start. Let's
Wow,
test the strength and
9-0.
swing big.
Almost got there.
Are we throwing away Aurum Aegis? Oh no! Oh no! KO. So KO is 3 for 0 on clashes in this game.
So that might token mine. It's gonna be pretty good. And because of Cat's Bones, if for some apparent reason only reveals 4, still gets the agility.
What's very scary is between the Vigor and Tuna Trap next turn, Easton's looking at a free Mandible Claw next turn. He doesn't even have to have any cards in hand.
Oh my gosh. I love Tekla Core. It's like one of my favorite cards.
There,
It's a build your own
There's-
Tekla Core.
there's the Cast Bones. Cast Bones hits fully 2 agility tokens, 8 might tokens. Now we're gaming. I just want to see
know-
the other gold cracked.
Oh. Oh, look at that hand. Oh my lord. So, thinking here, since Ethan did reveal a CNC off the Cast Bones, are you wanting to pitch the Sink Below 2 tech plating to make sure that your hand blocks 12?
I think you've got to get rid of it. Yeah, it's just too much of a risk to have a card in hand that doesn't block, especially when you don't have Crown of Providence to sink it away.
Yeah. And you have no way of getting rid of your Arsenal card, which is the pummel that we saw on
Mhm.
turn 2. So, I think that is what I would be looking to do here, is to pitch the Sink to the tech, swing for 4, and then pray that I draw 3 blocks.
We'll see. We'll see. I still want to see Aurum Aegis serve its purpose in this game. That's my side quest here for Alex.
I just want to see Easton pop more goals than Victor.
We're getting there. We're solidly getting there.
Yeah. I wonder if Easton's looking at his hand and going, how do I pop gold here to match? Because if you want to look at it, he's got 1 vigor, Tunic up. He can have a 6-card hand with Tunic.
This also is a 3 red hand. Alex, interestingly, sandbagging the CNCs, the Sink Blow, so calling the shot on the CNC. Now, as we can see from our outside perspective, Easton does have it. It'll be interesting to see if he leads the turn with it.
Oh, yeah. I think it's
'Cause,
probably a safe bet to leave a turn with it.
I don't know about you. CNC for 14 go again? Pretty good.
Makes me want to cry.
Not
Makes me
bad.
wanna cry thinking about it. And we still haven't seen a Blood Rush Bellows. This is just math.
This
That's all
is just math so far.
Yeah, there's no spike turns. It's just that my deck.
I mean, we just had a
Very good.
Cast Bones make a second agility. I don't think we can say there's no spike turns so far.
I've been told people don't even play that anymore.
You're not wrong. Well, we did call the shot. CNC for 14 go again, starting the turn. There's still action points after this.
Oh. This is gonna be one of those turns where you go on Twitter and you go, "Can we please ban this? I'm tired of it." How is this fun?
Yeah. So Alex isn't completely doomed here. You know, Guardian Fridge. He can block 14 here and still have, what, 2 cards in hand? Golden Sun, Choke
Yeah.
Slam, Aurum Aegis, Tech Plating, and Gauntlets?
Yeah. Thinking about that line though. Oh, okay. So he decides that he really wants that.
Okay, we really want this pummel.
By the looks of this game. So 14. We get a good arsenal here. We got 2 floating. Let's see what happens. Do you remember what the arsenal is?
On Kayo's side, I don't. I'm just fixated on this pummel that is in Alexander Vor's arsenal.
Me too. That's the only thing I've been.
I wanted to
only
see
thing
it
I'm
played
like,
so bad.
oh yeah.
Okay, so
Anything else?
we've got 2 floating. We've got 2 different 2 resource go again cards in Easton's hand.
Oh,
it
it's that
was the Sen packing. Okay.
Oh, one short from being able to block out to put the pummel back in.
Oh, disaster, because we're on
Oh.
the same chain.
Oh no.
That is
Oh.
very unfortunate. What a send
What?
packing.
No joke. I guess I'll sink below sadness and pass. And
Yeah,
then he gets
just-
the Arsenal to go again. Oh,
Just saving life at this point.
I believe we have a 4-5 red hand from the
Yeah,
KO side.
seems so. I wonder if we see gold and tunic try to draw into a blue here.
Well, I mean, someone's got to use the gold. Might as well be the KO. So, looking at from the victor side, we're looking at our hand. We're probably thinking we kind of want to throw the spinal without too much of a detriment on our life. So,
Oh, wow. Ripping the yellow agile wind up off the top and then immediately discarding it to the wild ride. So we're still stuck with 3 reds.
yeah.
If Alex wanted an avenue back into this game, this turn is probably it.
Yeah.
Because the turn here from now is probably just going to be Claw Pass from Easton and spending 2 cards to send 3 go again. What do you think is the premium arsenal here between Runner, Pulping, and Wild Ride, though?
Wild Ride, I think, would be because we've seen the sync blows in the deck from Vor. So having the Wild Ride, I think, is probably correct. And Runner is only good if you already have an agility on this turn cycle, so I would get that one out. So probably Wild Ride to guarantee the go again, so you can play your 6-3-6. Oh, sorry, 7-3-6 line.
Now, does this look like a hand that blocks 6 and attacks with hammer from Victor's side, or are we throwing the Spinal Crush? What do you think
I
Vor is
think-
doing here?
I think it's correct to throw the spinal because
Okay.
at this rate in the game, your opponent has 2 armor, which means that it threatens 2 cards from hand still.
Interesting. We're pitching the Wild Ride, keeping the Pulping.
Okay. So we've seen 2 sink below, so I mean that makes sense. I mean, you couldn't guarantee your opponent not being on fate. Oh, hey, it's
Wow,
the,
what
Flush
a
Bug
hand.
card. Oh,
Okay, well this actually is a perfectly timed Spinal then, because Easton wants nothing more than to go again on this turn.
yeah, but what might happen here is that you're looking to cycle in the Blood Rush Bellows into your arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking to maybe it depends on the color of this
That's definitely a red,
package.
Bear Fangs. I believe that
Okay, so you don't place red. Okay. So, cause sorry, I have this yellow Bear Fangs in my mind that
Uh-huh.
won't leave me alone that I've been seeing.
that's the new tech.
Yeah, I mean I've seen it. It's pretty good. Big number go burr.
So it is a bit awkward here because Easton can't block with the Bear Fangs, and if he wants to arsenal the Blood Rush Bellow, he needs to clear the Wild Ride in his arsenal. Or we're giving a card in armor and saying, you know what? 4 cards, plenty for Blood Rush Bellow. Makes sense to me. Bit sad to
Wow.
miss the Beast Within there.
Yeah, but there is a chance that the I believe pulping is an arsenal.
Pulping is an arsenal, yes.
So pulping here, you can discard the blue and possibly get with the Beast Within, and so you can go 3 Chain Link Steep here pretty easily.
Oh, very good point.
Yeah. Let's see how good this trounce is. Oh, 0
Okay.
to 0.
Are we going to see Orm
Do your
Aegis
thing,
pop?
Shield. Do it.
Surely.
It's a 0.
It's a 0. It's so easy to beat. Also, there's a Blood Rush Bellow on top of Easton's deck. I feel like that is relevant to throw it away, even though it would probably lose you the Clash, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, because Vor isn't aware, but we are aware that he will be drawing it and maybe discarding it. Oh, here we go. They match, but with a thunk.
Hmm.
Uh-oh.
But the first Clash was let uncontested. So
Wow.
we know that Easton has a Blood Rush Bellow on top of his deck. Easton now has that information to play with, knowing that he has a random draw discard in his arsenal. Still going for it. And of course, we get lucky.
It's not luck. It's all skill. It's Easton Douglas. What are you talking about?
Oh, but the
Beast Within gets discarded, and then he gets to throw. Wow.
Right, but there's-
what a turn.
what? This is an insane turn.
What a turn this is gonna be.
Civic Steps block pretty smart here because there's no way that there are 2 follow-ups after this. Or there could be. No. Draw into the Reckless Swing. So this Beast Despairfang's chance to miss, and it does. Only
it's only 8?
Only 8, not
Only
10.
8. Only 8. Oh, I was really worried there for a second for Vor. I think this is the moment that Vor goes, I'm just going to start blocking you out and hope I don't die.
We've got 10 life to Easton's 26 cards in deck. That's a pretty monumental task at this point, but I have seen much stranger things happen before.
Oh, yeah. That
No
pack
ad-
hunt might be very good here.
I was about to say, no agility makes this Savage Feast kind of awkward, but there are, in fact, 2 agile windups in Easton's hand.
They actually always come together. Most people don't know that, but when you shuffle up and you draw your hand, they're always together. It's actually
Interesting.
insane.
So that's why no one plays the Reds. You don't want to draw them together.
Yeah,
The
Vor's probably
spicy,
looking at-
spicy Clash of Vigor here in Vor's list.
I like it. Vor's probably looking at his hand and going, oh, it blocked 12. How perfect.
We love those in Guardian.
Guardian math.
So we just naturally have the Wild Ride here in Easton's hand. Or the Mighty Windup, which we
Oh.
arsenaled earlier.
Decides to clear out the arsenal for a later turn cycle.
Yeah, now we're primed to set up something real later on. I think it makes
Yeah.
sense. You've got plenty of life to play with here, so you can be a bit picky about what you want to do.
Yeah, so this E-Strike is worth 3 value if you swing with it or if you block with it. Oh, decides to give all of it. Interesting.
Well, if we're playing to fatigue here, or just to stay alive, right, then
Yeah.
your 1 point of life is worth more than Kayo's 2 points of life.
Oh, yeah.
Another no blue hand. This game has been seeing a lot of them on both sides, it feels.
Yeah. We need ice back. This what this means. We need
We-
these greedy
Listen,
mana bases gone.
I won't fight you on that, as
I'm just
as I'm sure all of the viewers are well aware.
as a aggro lover, I miss ice.
I miss ice too. CNC turns out though very playable off Golden Sun. I think it just depends on how much of an offense Easton can assemble here. He does have quite the hand with a Blood Rush Bellow, Pack Hunt, and Send Packing, all very reasonable cards here.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Spicy decision here.
voluntarily IPing in order to have Pack Hunt and Blood Rush Bellow in the same hand.
Hey, that CNC might be really relevant here then, because
I-
looking at
Yeah.
the turn cycles, because you Arsenal Blood Rush, you block with 2 cards. So Blood Rush gets to play a 3-card hand. So more than likely what we're actually going to see is this Blood Rush be sit in the arsenal for the next 2 turns.
CNC for 6 here disrupts exactly what Easton was wanting to do by playing Blood Rush Bellow with Pack Hunt. Savage Feast and Pat Crawl both make sense as blocks, so this might just be a value Pack Hunt. Okay.
So funny enough, because you're losing a lot of these clashes, you actually don't even want to block with this Clash of Might probably. I mean Clash of Vigor. So you're
Interesting.
probably looking to choke slam, the buckling blow, get back your other card, Wing Pine Fist.
Clash of Vigor notably does not turn on Titan's Fist, which is interesting.
Oh,
We are clashing. Test of
Do it,
strength
pop
on
it.
top. Gotta do it. No,
Ooh.
free vigor. So this can be interesting, and that's exactly why there's a cast bones in Easton's hand that he can't pitch because of Blood Rush Bellow.
that is.
If
such
he
an
wants to
interesting
lead
direction.
on Blood Rush Bellow, the vigor means that he has to do it with a dead card in hand.
Yeah. Or just follow me here, Ray.
I'm listening. I'm ready.
Roll the scabbies. Let's go. Let's
Woo!
game.
Lead on the cast bones, then play Blood Rush Bellow.
That seems like a good turn.
That's the. Let me hold on. I'm doing the EV. It seems like a good turn.
Let's go.
Roll stabbies! We hit 2. Oh my goodness. The math was right.
Patel in shambles. That's
Leading on Intimidate. Interesting. Okay.
See, when I watch these kind of plays, I know these people are better than me, because I'm like, oh, it's this, and then they do something else. I'm like, well, they know what they're doing. I don't. I'm just here enjoying them.
That's my favorite part of high-level Flesh and Blood, is looking just at, like, one turn cycle and seeing Easton's hand, and, like, yeah, I can see, like, 4 potential lines to take here, and the pro players always find, like, the hidden 7th line that you just did not even consider. And this is one that I did not consider. Smash Instinct, having Intimidate, turns out very relevant text.
Yeah, this is awesome. Love this. Going full Rhinar. Well, to be fair, if you want to look at Easton's deck, though, 17 cards. I'm not going to say it's possible, but...
We're getting there, yeah.
But...
Alex has not taken substantial damage in quite a while. All right, here's another clash.
Here.
Oh. Victor wins.
Write that down.
Victor. Okay. I'm taking note. Okay. We're 3-1, I think, so far in this game. Interesting. So this Mandible Claw doesn't have go again. Just gonna leave the cast bones in hand. Drew the Spinal Crush off of the gold.
Ethan just broke my mind with this line. Oh, that must feel bad to lose with a Thunderquake. Pop the gold. Pop the gold.
Popped gold. We get there. Oh my goodness. Reckless swing on top of Easton's deck.
Final now? Ooh.
Okay.
This Reckless is kind of scary too, actually, because of the cast bones. He IP.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also 2 misses for the pulping. This is a pretty tricky hand to navigate for Easton here.
But 2-card 10 is good math.
2-card 10, very good math. Especially when Easton's hand only really blocks 6 if he wants a turn at all. He can give 10.
Where you drop, yeah, but say, is there a world where you just drop your hand in front of it?
I think that's probably the correct play to make.
Well, I'm not here to see correct. I'm here to see some crazy stuff happen, okay?
Absolutely. Are we going to see crazy stuff? Oh. No. We're gonna greet it up with this cast bones, maybe? Easton continues to find the lines that I don't see. Okay, we're really invested in this cast bones then. 2 turns in a row, 3 turns in a row, this has been in Easton's hand.
This cast bones, what?
Well, Alex's hand really good here. You can
from your perspective, play the cast bones, keep the pulping in hand, and then just hit him for like 12 dominate.
That would have been my inclination, yes.
Okay.
But we've got a Thunderquake here. We're about to start threatening lethal to Easton very quickly.
Yeah. There is a world there where you could actually threaten lethal.
Victor wins another clash. We're 3-2 in clashes now. Victor might be able to come out ahead in clashes this game. What a turn of events this has been.
I'm so invested. Like I am.
I'm so into this. So red Thunderquake is the obvious play. E-Strike is the spicy play.
Yeah, this is.
Bottoming the red. Are we gonna heave this blue Thunderquake? There's no way.
Maybe activate the gold to draw a card.
Oh,
Since
okay.
Boar has knowledge of the top card from the Clash of Vigor.
Yeah, we know that that's what, a red debilitate, or is it a spinal? It's red debilitate, yeah. Not a bad line at all. Still have the Orm Aegis as well if we need to fix a clash next turn.
15 cards.
We're getting there very quickly. Okay, now this, we've got a Mighty Wind Up and a Cast Bones. This is the turn Easton's been waiting for, but there's a Spinal in Alex's hand. Okay.
What is this?
What is this? What is this game? Because now Alex tries to Spinal for 9. Easton has to give 2 cards again. The Blood Rush Bellow. Not bad, but not what it could be.
And you get to Arsenal the Thunderquake, so you can block 6 efficiently on your next turn, throw 8. So, because you can assume that the Spinal will eat 1 card, 2 cards from hand, take 3, go to 4. You Arsenal this, so that eats 2 cards next cycle too. So this is a really interesting spot.
We're very quickly approaching fatigue. Now, Easton does have Alex's entire life total sitting on the board in terms of might tokens. So revealed a Blood Rush Bellow on top, goes on the bottom from the pack call.
Which is good though, because that oh.
All right, we're going for it. We're going for it. This is exactly what you want to see. Because now we can claw for 1 million into Wild Ride from hand.
This test of strength might be the game.
It might. If this test of strength draws a card, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a game.
This game has been crazy. Have we seen the other 2 pummels, by the way? It's just been that one, right?
Yeah, I think there's a chance Boar's only playing 1.
Insane. All right, claw for 12. Gonna take a lot of cards from hand, but if his test of strength draws...
Do you block with the blue Thunderquake here, hope to draw another blue? Then you can keep like a... Well, ooh, I don't know. Ooh. The more I think about this cycle, this is an insane game.
Yeah, just can't go too low because Easton has shown us that he does have the reckless swings.
And pulping.
And pulping. So drawn clash there. We've gotta see Orm Aegis break here, right?
I think so. But blocking with the CNC also means that he's probably okay losing. Because Titan's Fist does get 1 card out of the hand every turn.
That's true. No armor block left, yeah.
So 2 go to 5. I think.
Oh, we're seeing it. And we win! We win off of the reclash with Orm Aegis. Oh. Alex, you fulfilled your side quest. I'm proud of you.
Oh my gosh. Of course it was pitch stack from Vor. Vor knew what it was.
Absolutely.
It was just a suspenseful thing.
Absolutely.
You know,
Gotta slow roll us.
I get it.
Okay, well, we're out of reckless swing range. So we're still in this game. What a game. Easton's deck, you know, there's a Blood Rush Bellow left, but aside from that, we're starting to look real thin in terms of threats left. A lot of blue cards in there that only attack for 5.
I mean, that's a kill in his hand.
That's yeah. If we can, you know, Hold cards for this
Somehow-
Golden Sun. Terra Sunder on Titan's Fist also quite scary at this point in the game. It just depends on how much offense Easton can present.
The Guardian special, the 3-card 5 dominate.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo, smiling somewhere in heaven.
There's a swing bait in Easton's hand. I don't know how many cards we're actually going to be able to hold here, but we can dream all day about terrible dominate things happening here.
Okay, I'm just dreaming about rolling Scabbies here.
I think you have to, right? You're just going to be fatigued if you don't.
It's funny because it's one of those games where I'm like, if he rolls a 1, he loses. He doesn't know that, but I'm pretty sure he knows that.
Just immediately loses, yeah.
But
Is there-
if you roll... Oh,
Is there ever a world where you just assault and battery and then arsenal the swing bid, knowing that you have a go again turn next turn?
maybe. Does your opponent play... Ooh, I don't... Well, we're aware that there's a 8 in Arsenal. So
Yeah.
block 6, throw 8, which is 2 cards from hand. I think you get actively fatigued in that math.
I think in most of the math here, we're getting fatigued.
Yeah, I am.
We're
Okay, so this is... Yeah, this is...
the
love
safe
this play.
line. Yeah. This also is arsenaling Intimidate, so maybe that's how we're breaking through that last bit of a Guardian defense before we get fatigued here. Smash Instinct, not terrible if we can
Yeah, that's-
find the Blood Rush Bellow that was buried with the Pat Call earlier.
I believe the Blood Rush is in the next hand.
Goodbye, Terra Sunder. Our dreams of dominating for 5 will not be realized today. Okay, taking this safer play, making sure we're not going to reckless swing territory. Just gonna be a Titan's Fist on Victor's side here. Oh, but the Quicken token. It's a shame there's no E-Strike in Arsenal to draw.
So come in for 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of... Okay.
So there's the last pulping. I think the top card of the deck might be Blood Rush Bellow. Yep. As soon as I said it, it was drawn and then not discarded by Easton. Okay.
Is there a chance this game ends in a draw?
No shot, right?
Well, because, like, if he has Reckless, well, no, because that's not how that game works. Dang, I suck at this game.
So this is Dominate. Okay, so our next hand. This is it. Easton has 1 card in deck, and it's Blood Rush Bellow. Both players know about it. What's the play? So Easton has to give up a card to Titan's Fist here. Is there ever a world where Alex draws off of the gold? Do we think the game is over?
Oh, yeah, because the Reckless Swing kills him, no matter what he does.
You're right. Reckless Swing kills
know that.
him.
I know that's boring, but...
But okay. But if Alex just pulls a Pro Tour champion and just sneaks his Sigil Solace as the top card of his deck right now, and then gains 3 life, we're gonna ignore the fact that we're in second cycle at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he hit it with the hit it with the Sync Blows.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
One up, fun up.
Yeah. Ignore the fact that we've seen his hands all game. Yeah, I think we're just dead to Reckless Swing here. With 1 card left in Easton's deck. What a game this was.
This was insane.
Incredible. Okay, so that's exactly how the matchup plays out, right? Like you said, no early CNC pummel, then no game, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was like a completely normal game that, you know, you'll see at an LGS on a Friday night.
I'm just proud of Easton because now both Team Ascent members in the ArcLight League have done the famous trick of IPing yourself with Cast Bones as Kayo, because that card is just that good.
Yeah, it's funny enough that I got to cast that game, and I remember me and my co-host at the time, Vera, were like, she's just too good. You see her line. Like, she's just IPing herself for the perfect time. But after hearing some commentary from your end, it just sounds like that card can sometimes be a little sketchy.
Incredible. Well, what a game. I'm super happy that I got to cast that and to share this moment with our viewers, because what a game that was.
Yeah, I had a great time. If you ever want to reach out, you can find me on Twitter at JaceHelp. And how about you, Ray? Where can they find you at?
You can find me basically everywhere on Hit Effects, both on Twitter and YouTube. Do a lot of Prism these days. Don't know if you've done the math. There's 2 weeks left in the ArcLight League. I have 2 more available times I can play Prism.
Really?
You might be a bit telegraphed what I'm going to be registering the rest of the event. I'm excited
Prism.
for it.
I'm ready.
Let's go. Well, I've been Rhea. This has been Taylor. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.